It is 3 o'clock in the morning. I guess Erin decided to start her day early today.
Well, at least she's happy. But man, it's going to be a rough day with such little sleep. You'd think we'd be heading to a theme park with that level of excitement.
In my personal opinion, the only reason to be up this early is if we are actually headed to a theme park.
Well, we may not be headed to a theme park, but I do know a way that we could wake up and get a little piece of that theme park magic here in our living room.
Dress Erin up as a wizard and pretend like we're riding on Forbidden Journey?
No.
Sing It's a Pirate's Life for me and splash water on our faces?
What? Never mind. We should brew a pot of Expedition Roasters coffee.
Oh, that's a much more sensible idea. I guess I'm too tired to think straight. What flavor should we make?
I'm thinking that maybe we could try their newest flavor, Wonderland Coffee Crumb Cake.
Oh, that flavor sounds really good. Or we could brew Fortune and Glory Bourbon Streusel. Or Enchanted Tiki Coconut.
Honestly, I'm so tired. I have a feeling that we're going to have multiple cups, so let's brew them all.
Uh-oh. Sounds like Erin requires our immediate attention, if you know what I mean. Want to take this one, Daddy?
What was that? I think I hear the kettle boiling already. I'm going to go grab that and make the coffee, okay?
But the kettle wasn't even on. Oh, well. As long as he comes back with a cup of Expedition Roasters, I really don't care. Come on, Erin. Let's go take care of business. Start your expedition today at expeditionroasters.com and use coupon code DUO15 to save 15% off your first purchase of Expedition Roasters themed coffees, shirts, and mugs. You can even get an art print of your favorite bag design. Brew your happy place. Expedition Roasters, an adventure in every bag.
Hi, and welcome to the Theme Park Duo podcast. Grab your park map, churro, and hop in line with us as we take you on a coast-to-coast adventure through the world of theme parks, haunts, conventions, and more. Now, here's your hosts, Nikki and Gabriel.
Hey everyone out there, and welcome to another episode of the Theme Park Duo podcast. I'm Nikki.
And I'm Gabe.
And we are
the Theme Park Duo. So we have a fantastic episode for you today where we're going to be talking about anything and everything Midsummer Scream 2019.
Woo!
So this is going to be our review episode of Midsummer Scream. So this is actually not going to contain all of the news that was dropped at the event. We are actually looking at the event as a whole and looking at what it's provided, looking at the price of the tickets and things like that, and seeing how it's improved, where it can improve, and where we go from here.
Yeah, because you've all heard the news by now.
Yeah, you've all heard the news. And plus, there has been so much news before, like, days before Midsummer Scream, at Midsummer Scream, then right after, that if we were to have done news right before this, we would have already been an hour in.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a whole separate bonus episode talking about haunt news as a whole from what we've heard over the past couple of weeks coming up pretty soon. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled for that extra bonus episode.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, as I said, this is going to be focusing on Midsummer Scream and what it is. And in all honesty, like, this is the biggest, most crazy year it's been so far.
Yeah, it's getting bigger and bigger every year.
You know, and we've said this before, and it's only been much more true even going through this year, is that it truly is the Comic-Con of the Halloween community.
Oh, yeah. It's crazy how popular it's becoming.
And the thing is that it's not even just popular within our circle of friends.
Yeah.
Because that community is rather tight-knit. I mean, like, that's a niche community, but it's extending past that now, and it's getting people who aren't necessarily the uber haunters, crazy, like, Halloween people. It's getting the outside of that people are like, oh, I enjoy Halloween. I'd enjoy that. Or, oh, I know those celebrities. I want to go see them. Uh-huh. You know, it's getting every single aspect of the Halloween season and the variation of fans that encompasses. So, I mean, I think that's why it's starting to get even bigger and bigger and bigger, because it's becoming more appealing to more people.
Yeah, totally.
There honestly is a lot offered with the ticket price to Midsummer Scream, you know, from the panels to the classes to a lot of the different experiences. And based on the price of what Midsummer Scream is, I actually think it's a tremendous value for what you're actually getting.
Oh, it is.
So if you were to get like a Gold Bat weekend pass, which Gold Bat is like essentially front of line special pass, that's $95 for the entire weekend, which is like $95. You think, oh, like $100. That's kind of rough. You have two people, it's $200. But with a Gold Bat pass, it's a weekend admission with 1 hour early entry each day. Doors open at 10 a.m., priority access to panels and presentations, front-of-the-line access to select attractions on the Hall of Shadows, collectible lanyard and credential, limited edition Gold Bat enamel pin only available to Gold Bat pass holders, admission to Midsummer Scream After Dark Saturday party, Gold Bat pass privileges are non-transferable, blah, 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 blah.
I think that the $95 is worth it just for the early entry alone, because otherwise that line for general admission going through security is rough.
It is very, very rough because we stayed across the street at the Renaissance Hotel.
Totally worth it, by the way.
100%
do that. Yeah.
But what was interesting is that our window actually was facing the convention center. So when we would wake up in the morning, we had Aaron with us. So that was a whole new experience.
Yeah.
Wake up in the morning, we would open the curtains and we would look down at the convention center and see like, okay, are there people waiting? What is it like?
There always were people waiting already.
There always was.
Yeah.
I mean, like 3 hours before it would open for Gold Bats, there would be people waiting in the Gold Bat line already, which was absolutely bonkers in my opinion. But that shows how popular it was, and it also shows how crazy fans are who are buying the Gold Bat passes, which end up selling out every freaking year.
Yeah.
And the general admission line that you were talking about, it would stretch
It's crazy.
Forever.
Like if you were in that line, like say fairly early on, it could still take you like 2 hours to get in. I knew people that waited like up to 3 hours, and it's worth it, the wait, but you know, it gets hot out there in Long Beach, you know, during the summer. And so it's worth it just to get into the AC maybe 2 or 3 hours earlier.
Yeah, I mean, I think that alone could really help. And I think one unfortunate thing that happens is that a lot of people end up looking at this process of trying to get into the convention like, oh, well, Midsummer, they're not planning ahead. They should plan better and make it so it's easier for us to get in. It's like, okay, well, did you realize that it's actually not Midsummer really organizing it that much? It really comes down to the Long Beach Convention Center.
They
like figuring
handle
out
security.
They handle security. They handle like the magnetometers who are like scanning you. All of that.
And I believe that might be all they have.
Yeah. I mean, it's up to them how many they want to put out, how many people they want to have working. You know, Midsummer can only, you know, set up the process in a way that they think would be best suited for the people who are attending and how they would want their people to be treated and things like that. But ultimately, a lot of those decisions are on Long Beach Convention Center.
I wonder if it would help if, like theme parks, they had a no bag line.
I think a no bag line, no bag line totally would help. We're going to have like what can improve later on down the line, but that is something, spoiler, something that we definitely can talk about a little bit later down the line. But that makes a lot of sense for me. And there's a couple other things that I know I want to talk about with regards to kind of like security, coming in and out, and kind of helping at least make things a bit smoother. Yeah. So that's what you get with the Gold Bat. And then if you're not going to get Gold Bat, the regular price for the weekend is $55. And then for Saturday it's $38 and Sunday it's $33. And that pretty much is just access to everything. Yeah. It's just, there's none of the perks that kind of come with Gold Bat. Yeah. But overall, if you're looking at a weekend price of $55 for everything that you're getting, it's tremendous value.
But I mean, and just even with that price, if you're going to do the normal weekend ticket and then still buy into the party, then get the Gold Bat.
It makes more sense to get the Gold Bat if you're going to end up doing that. Yeah. And a lot of people end up waiting. They're like, oh, I don't know. It's a lot of money.
Just do it. It's fun.
Just do it because you're going to really hate yourself when it's sold out. Yeah. And you're not going to be able to do that. And you're going to have to shell out $55 for that. Then the extra money for that thing. And then it's going to add up. And you're going to save money just getting the Gold Bat straight up.
Yeah.
So I think that with the amount of panels there are, celebrity meet and greets, Hall of Shadows, haunted houses, all the secondary panels, even the extra activities that are involved, I think that is well worth the price of admission that you're paying in order to experience all these things.
Oh, yeah.
So definitely think that over the years, Midsummer has done a very good job in making it a value and at least worth the ticket price.
Oh, definitely.
Because there's plenty of cons that are like, oh, it's going to be this expensive, and then most things are like upcharged and you have to do certain other things.
Yeah.
But Midsummer has never felt that way. And that's one thing I really appreciate about Midsummer is that it always feels like
you get your money's worth.
You get your money's worth, yeah. Exactly. Especially if you're like a group of 5 people or something. It's like you have to pay for like a whole family to go.
Yeah.
It's like, is that really worth it? Yeah, pretty much. Mm-hmm. So, next up on our topic list would be the show floor. The show floor was absolutely overwhelming this year.
It was gigantic.
Yeah, like, okay, so like we're sitting here and we have the pamphlets in front of us. And when I open up this pamphlet, I feel like it's like I'm opening up
It's a park map.
It's like a park map / like I feel like I have to unfold it like 30 times.
Yeah.
And then I feel like it's like the map from the Goonies where I'm like looking at clues. I try to figure out where Willie's hidden treasure is and crap. Like it's absolutely insane. And then the font for how many vendors there are, you need like a magnifying glass to read those. From what I understood, I think there's 350 different vendors this year in the exhibit hall of Midsummer Scream.
Whoa.
Which is absolutely bonkers. So essentially last year's Midsummer, where the extra booths are, was where the Hall of Shadows was.
Yeah.
So they've essentially doubled the size of the show floor. And as soon as you enter, you are faced with the giant hayride, a Los Angeles Haunted Hayride, like setup where they're advertising for their new year. And that is a big entry statement, which is cool.
Which I'm excited for that.
Well, I think everyone's pretty excited for that. I mean, as soon as you put Jungkook's name on something, people tend to freak out.
Yes, very true.
Yeah. If you don't know who Jungkook is, look up Plague
Google
Productions. Plague Productions. But yeah, and then like the entire show floor really kind of runs the gamut of different Halloween items.
Oh yeah, I mean there's cutesy like crafty things that you'd find on like Etsy. Then there's like booths where it's more like stuff that you would go to if you want to do your own home haunt, like fog machines or, you know,
projecting
materials
systems,
for this. Yeah, so
backdrops.
Yeah, like backdrops. Then there's
prosthetics.
Prosthetics
and makeup.
Yeah, there was even the scent booth.
Oh my god, the scent booth. Oh my god, tell that story.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so right after you went out of the Hall of Shadows, right?
The exit of the Hall of Shadows.
To your right, there was this tiny little booth. We missed it like the first few times we walked past it. And it was just this couple, and they had a company, and they were selling these scent packets. You know, and they were there at Midsummer Scream selling scent packets for things that you would want in a haunt. So, like, you know, pumpkin and
pirate ship.
Yeah, so, you know, things like spooky scents. And he's like, but, you know, we're also the official supplier of Disneyland scents. And we're like, oh, that's cool.
Or scents to Disney.
Scents
like
to
the Disney company.
Like the scents that you smell on Main Street. You know, all the fabricated scents that they blow at you to make you go in the stores and buy the food and things like that. Are those
fabricated? I always thought those were real.
I think they're fabricated.
But we're talking about like at the rides mainly.
Well, no, we're talking about all over the place. And then he said, he got like a smile on his face. He's like, you remember soaring over California, right? And we're like, yes. He's like, you remember the orange groves? Yes. And he held up a little packet
like these little pebble
with
things
a fan behind it, and he blew the orange scent from soaring over California in our faces, and we almost cried.
It was an emotional experience.
We weren't ready for it.
It was definitely overwhelming.
We were at Midsummer Scream. We weren't expecting to get blasted by soaring over California smells.
No, not at all. And we haven't ridden it, and we know it's back right now.
But we don't have passes right now.
We don't have passes. We can't ride it. Yeah. So we haven't ridden it in a long time.
Yeah.
So the memories just came in real hard.
Yeah.
So that was a really cool experience. And then even more on top of that, when it comes to like the different booths, you have booths that are displaying, pieces of history. So, like, there was a Haunted Mansion one that you could walk into and see, like, different pieces of memorabilia from over the years of Haunted Mansion, because it was the 50th anniversary of the Haunted Mansion this year.
Yep.
So there was a lot of that.
There's photo ops.
Celebrity meet and greets. You could go to the Crypt TV booth and get a picture with the Mordeo, which is one of their more popular monsters. You crawl under the table, you put your head in the table, and it looks like the Mordeo's trying to eat you.
Yeah.
They have that, and it was just a big myriad of different options. And then even on top of that, they had the merch booth for Midsummer. And this is another reason... Oh, I hit my little pop guard.
I think it's okay. I don't think they are.
I did probably not.
Yeah.
You didn't hear my mistake. Woo. This is another reason to get the gold bat. It seems as though Midsummer is starting to do more unique product offerings that are Midsummer themed. And if this year's any indication, I think next year they're going to probably end up doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Because this year they had a limited edition tiki mug.
And mask.
And mask that looked like the Black Cat logo of the con.
Yeah.
And there was only 500 mugs. I don't know how many there were of the mask.
I don't know.
But I know that there was a huge line the first day just to get them. And that was when the gold bats got let in. So if you want the opportunity to purchase those types of things, getting the gold bat will allow you to be there early so that you can purchase.
Yeah. Also, the floor just gets super crowded. Like, they did a great job this year. You know, the aisles were a lot wider. It never felt as, like, claustrophobic as it has in years past, just because of the sheer amount of people down there. So they did a great job of that. But even with that, like, you know, towards, like, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, it was packed down there.
In between panels and in between experiences, you could tell that there was a lot of people there, which is weird because I never felt like it was overwhelming.
No.
It felt really busy, but it also felt easier to traverse than the previous years.
Well, it's because the aisles were wider.
They were much wider. It was easier to kind of get around different people because if you had small paths like they did before, people stop, people are looking, it's crowded, it's hard to get around, period.
There was that bottleneck going into the Hall of Shadows because the Hall of Shadows is... you know, very popular. So there were a lot of people in there. I felt the crowds more in the Hall of Shadows. But, you know, that's another reason to get gold bat is just, you know, you get those few golden hours in the morning where it's not very crowded. You could leisurely walk around the booths and it's just really nice.
Yeah, no, seriously. It's really, really nice to just not have to worry about, you know, the bombardment of other people.
Yeah.
So that you could just enjoy looking at, like, taking your time at a booth, looking at the details of things, and enjoying yourself, because that's ultimately what it's all about.
And you need the extra time to walk around all the aisles, because we got lost a few times. Like, it's pretty systematic. You know, went up, down, and we still missed stuff.
There's things I missed.
Yeah.
And I'm mad. Like, there was a lot of things I missed, and I'm mad about it. Like, there was booths that I didn't even see that people took pictures of. I'm like, that was there?
Yeah.
I don't even remember that.
We had friends just come over yesterday, and we were talking about Midsummer. They went also, but not with us. They went on their own.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the root beer booth, you know, with the cups that you could get, and you could get free refills on
which
your
I didn't
root beer.
even notice to the second day.
Yeah, no, but they didn't notice at all. They're like, what? Where was that? Because they would have gotten the cup because they really like root beer.
Yeah, it's like, so that whole booth was like a metal tin cup that you could buy, and then anytime you see them at a con, you pay $5, you get refills all day.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of soda. That's too much soda for me.
But people who really like root beer are pretty hardcore about their root beer.
I also saw people carrying that around all weekend long.
Yeah.
They have them on their carabiners, just like attached to their backpack,
to their backpacks,
or their pockets.
Yeah,
they
I saw
literally
so
carry
many
them
people
everywhere.
with them. Yeah.
So I mean, that was good value if you really dig root beer,
or go to a couple cons a year. Yeah.
Yeah, or like buy that, get 1 cup of root beer, fill it with ice for the rest of the day, and just put water in it or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's a little bit harder to do.
Well, someone was saying that booth was like the only place you could get ice at.
Yeah.
At Midsummer.
Yeah, that's another issue.
That's
but
not really an issue. I mean, I did fine without ice.
No, I'm saying like they should at least have ice at the food booths that are in the convention center where they're selling food.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that topic of like food and all that other stuff it's coming up, trust me.
Yeah.
So moving on, let's talk a little bit about the Hall of Shadows.
Ooh.
this is really, I would say, is the big characteristic to Midsummer and what makes it a little bit different from many other conventions that really focus on horror.
Yeah.
This is a gigantic playground for all the independent haunts to come in and build miniature versions of what they're going to be building for that year.
And some of them this year were really,
they were very popular.
And the facades were so impressive.
They were much more elaborate than the years prior.
There was a whole, Mayan temple thing with the snake off the top.
And it would, shoot out lasers from it.
Laser show. There was, a laser show out of the mouth of this giant snake.
A laser show.
Laser show. Oh, that's a laser show.
Yeah, it was actually pretty intense. There was a lot of really cool stuff. Even somebody had a miniature dark ride. It went in a circle.
Yeah, but still.
It was an example of what he's trying to sell, which is cool. So, as you approach the Hall of Shadows, you could tell what the theme is this year, which is Tiki Terror, which is very cool. So the entire archway to the Hall of Shadows almost looks like volcanic rock. And on the right side, there's a
tiki
god or tiki carving statue that talks to you and interacts with you. I believe I remember his name being Tiki Tum Tum.
Something like that.
Yeah. So we would walk up and he was like, "Hello, I'm Tiki Tum Tum."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Hi, I'm Gabe, and this is Nikki, and that's Aaron."
Well, and he was like, hello. Tiny human. To Aaron.
You're perfect for a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Just joking.
Yeah, he was funny.
He was very funny. He was really fun, and the entirety of the entrance to the Hall of Shadows was done by Cal Haunts, which is a group of wonderful haunters who are all very talented. They all bring their skills together, different skill sets for different things, and build this wonderful entrance scare zone / just fun entryway to the Hall of Shadows to give it a little bit more character and feeling to it, so which is quite nice. So as you enter the Hall of Shadows, on the left-hand side is the entrance to their little area that they've built. There is a crashed plane. There's little monster villagers who are blowing air darts. They're cooking somebody on a spigot. You walk through a temple and there's a giant snake that comes out. There's a couple little pop scares and things like that. But overall, I think that it was super fun. I think, as much as I love Tiki, I think I preferred the prior year where they had the Frankenstein's castle, where they kind of had the body kind of going up and down or tilting forward and things like that. I don't know what it was about this year. I appreciate it a ton. Don't get me wrong. There was something very grandiose about seeing Frankenstein's castle and things like that.
Yeah.
Although Frankenstein's castle doesn't have a giant crashed plane in the area, which was very cool. So I don't know.
Who knows? Maybe it was just when we went through, because we went through when it was really, really crowded.
I went through it a few times just to kind of get photos.
I only went through the walkthrough
focus on the details and things like that. So I definitely got time to kind of soak it in and experience it. I'm not 100% sure what wasn't jiving with me this time around, even though I love Tiki. I love Tiki themed things. So I'm not quite sure, but with that being said,
that's your own personal preference.
That's my own personal preference. I don't think that takes away from the value of what this entry does for the Hall of Shadows. I don't think it takes away from the artistic skill sets of all these people. Yeah. It's just, for me, I was like, I wish it was a little bit more. A little
underwhelming for you.
Yeah, I think it was more about what you're looking at as opposed to interacting with.
What you're experiencing. Yeah. It was very passive. Maybe that's why.
In the prior year, there was Dr. Frankenstein in there talking to people and stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool to kind of have that. I think I was missing that.
Maybe. Yeah. And then once you move past that entrance, you enter the Tiki Terror Market, and this is where they had mostly Tiki specific
items,
booths. And they were really cool. There were booths selling these cool kind of art prints that were all Tiki themed.
They were clearly Disney inspired.
Oh yeah, definitely. But they were so cool. And then hidden in the corner in a little nook was a Tiki bar, and that was super cool.
Run by our friends at the Drunken Devil.
Yeah, so that was really fun.
Well, not run by them, but
hosted
by
yeah.
Drunken Devil.
Yeah. So it was a really cool little area, and they were selling lots of really fun stuff. I know you were tempted to buy a few things.
So there was multiple tiki mug places in there, and then it was the one that I really liked is a woman was selling a lot of items that were obviously Adventure Lamb. Who's the Adventure Lamb?
The Adventure Lamb.
Adventure Land inspired. So she had these darts that sat on like a little shelf, and it just said
sleeping aid.
It said something sleeping
Amazon
aid.
sleeping
Amazonian sleeping aid, which I just thought was hysterical. I was like, oh my god, that would go perfect in our Adventureland bathroom. This is incredible.
Yeah.
But I just held my wallet very tightly in my little pocket and just walked away because I was like, I've spent money already. So I ignored my needs to buy that. We also bought drinks later that day.
We did buy drinks, which were good.
That's fine.
Yeah. So that was a really fun area, and it was the entrance or the alleyway into the Hall of Shadows.
All the spooky things.
Yeah.
So overall, they have, what is that, about like 16 different haunted houses, plus the Decayed Brigade sliding show.
And I really like the location of the Decayed Brigade show area this year. It was away from the haunts.
Yeah, it was placed very well.
So it wasn't in any walking paths where, the crowds would disrupt the paths of people walking to different haunts. Because I know in years past, it's like, once the Decayed Brigade show started, it's like you couldn't get to half the haunts.
I do think that the layout this year was very well done and thought out.
Oh, yeah.
There were a couple times, though, that I saw that like lines where some of the haunted houses were kind of extending out and past so that certain walkways were almost completely blocked because they were just lines.
Yeah.
So there was that. But I mean, overall, I think that is a minor thing compared to the rest of everything else. So that's kind of nice. So on the other side of this monstrous map, there is a map of the Hall of Shadows. And there is a list of the different haunts that are there. So they have this. Some of these were also just like
experiences.
Not experiences. They were displays. They were displays,
yeah.
But like traditional displays. So they had like the pumpkin patch ones with like carvings and that kind of stuff.
That was cool. I like
little ghosts like sitting in the cemetery and things like that.
Yeah.
So they had the cemetery celebration. They had Jack's Halloween Jamboree Haunted Hunt, Bone Dry, Helser Cemetery, Wicked Pumpkin Hollow, Scream Queens The Tribute Experience, Fear Fest 89, Temple of the Fallen God, The High Street Massacre. That was the one my mom went through, which I'm sure she didn't enjoy. Reichland Asylum, Gothic Hill Cemetery, Desert Decay Manor, Secrets of the Mist, Die Laughing, Cobble Haunter, Salem, and then obviously the Decayed Brigade Slider Show.
Yeah.
Which we are huge fans of them. So shout out to any of the sliders listening right now. Hopefully there are some listening.
I loved seeing the ramp return to the show this year.
The ramp returned in a way that I felt like was a little bit more intense. Like I felt like they were getting much more air than they should have been getting. It was pretty gnarly.
Are your knees all right?
Yeah,
Do you
they're
need
probably
ice packs?
still hurting.
Yeah.
They're probably definitely still hurting.
It was fun to watch though.
Yeah. Definitely enjoy watching them. And I feel like any person who hasn't attended Midsummer Scream that is thinking about attending future years of Midsummer, do not miss the Hall of Shadows, and 100% do not miss a slider show.
Try to catch more than one if you can, because they're always a bit different.
Usually they're pretty different. Like there's minor differences here and there. But overall, I feel like just being able to go and appreciate what these people do and are, sacrificing their body to do, and these people do it during the haunt season too. So being able to appreciate it in a way, in a show that isn't them scaring, allows you to kind of be appreciative of what
appreciative of the actual skill involved.
The skill involved, because they're doing things I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, and they train.
My body can't bend that way.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Yeah, they train all year round. They're constantly practicing and honing their skills to do this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which is nice. So big shout out to Decayed Brigade for coming out and doing some awesome shows. So Hall of Shadows, I thought in general was a significant bump up from all the previous years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it seems with the extra space that they've gotten this year, they were able to kind of improve on a lot of the smaller, finer details from the show floor to the Hall of Shadows and things like that.
Yeah,
so.
it just they had more room to properly like lay out and plan everything, and it really shows.
Yeah, no, it really, really, really did. So, moving on to the next, we're going to be talking about the main panels during Midsummer Scream. So, Midsummer Scream was a Saturday and a Sunday. The very first panel on Saturday, August 3rd, was A Chilling Legacy, 50 Years of Disneyland's Haunted Mansion, which was unbelievably awesome.
Yeah, you went to this, and I sat out.
Yeah. Why did you sit out again?
Well, because your parents were showing up, and I had to go get them.
Oh, yeah. That was awkward.
I was a good wife.
Thank you.
And I let you go to the panel.
It was very good, and I'm sorry you missed it.
Nah, it's okay.
I feel like a majority of this panel was amazing because of Tanya Norris. And Tanya Norris was the interior designer for New Orleans Square and worked on the Haunted Mansion. So she had a lot of really interesting stories of Walt Disney and interacting with him and working with him. She told this fantastic story where she was flying to New Orleans with Walt Disney, and they would be on the plane, like him, her, and a few other people. And every evening they would have drinks, but she was not of age yet. Every evening he would be like, okay, she's not going to have any. He would ahead of time say no so that she couldn't have a drink with them.
Yeah.
Eventually, Walt's wife was like, just let the girl have a drink.
Walt's wife.
Walt's wife.
You kind of mumbled it.
Walt's wife.
You kind of said, eventually Walt's wife. Yeah.
Walt's wife eventually was like, just let her have a drink. And Walt basically said in so many words, I'm not going to add to the delinquency of minors in America.
Yeah.
Which obviously, like, Tanya didn't care. It wasn't a huge deal. But he cared about that. But she spoke very highly of Walt, how kind Walt was, and how he interacted with the different people who were working on his attractions and working with him.
Yeah.
You know, many times where she would come into the office and he's there kind of tinkering around with things in her office saying, what are you spending my money on today?
Yeah.
You
like
know,
kidding.
Like, yeah. Oh, yeah, kidding, of course.
Yeah.
So like, I like this, I like that, and then just leaving.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting to hear all those stories. And, you know, obviously there was other people on the panel like Bob Gurr, Don Hahn was there, Tanya Norris, Tom Morris was there, and it was not narrated. It wasn't narrated. It was hosted by Doug Barnes, our good friend from the Season Pass podcast, and he did a very good job. He also had a very easy job because all of them just kind of went.
Yeah.
They all just went and told their stories, so he only had to interject every now and again, but he did a good job being able to kind of wrangle them together.
Good.
And, you know, have concise answers that kind of were to the point of what they were talking about.
Yeah.
So that was a very good panel. And Midsummer has been having a run of having first panels being the most epic panels, you know, really getting people in the seats. And there was not an empty seat.
Well, I think they do that on purpose
full.
because they want it to be full because that's also when all of the great people who run Midsummer will, you know, go out first and introduce themselves and welcome everything to Midsummer Scream. And that's a thing that I really appreciate that they do. At the start of the first panel, they introduce themselves, welcome everybody there for the weekend. And at the beginning of the last panel, they thank everyone for coming and they say their closing remarks for the weekend. And I think that's great that they do that.
It becomes a lot more personal.
Yeah.
And I think allowing themselves to truly be the face of the event means that they care. Because if you were to be running a con, would you want your face to be the front and center? Like, we are the people who are choosing what is going to be here at this convention?
Yeah. Or
would you rather it be somebody else who has no idea what it feels like to have a passion for what this convention is about? And what it comes down to is the fact that these people who are running it, so it's David Markland, Claire Dunlap, Rick West, and Gary Baker, all four of them have an immense passion for the Halloween seasons. And seasons, it's one season. Halloween
it just lasts a long time.
Yeah, it feels like seasons, but it's just one season.
Yeah.
They have an immense passion and love for the Halloween season. And the thing is that each one of them have it in a different manner. And that's why Midsummer has turned into this amalgamation of different aspects of the Halloween season, and everyone is coming to enjoy it. And like you said, I appreciate that they're there because it means that they care, and I appreciate that they care about us caring.
Yeah.
It's hard to kind of describe that feeling while you're sitting there listening to them talk, because they are us. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
We are all in the same community. We all care about the same thing. And they only want the event to be something that they would think is cool.
They get just as excited when they hear the breaking news at the panels, and they get just as psyched for everything as we do, and that's really cool.
They really want to make it something that the community can be proud of and happy with.
Yeah.
Which means a lot to me, because that means we're always going to get the best product.
Yep.
Because they care. They're not going to provide us something that is a mediocre experience.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't attend it if it was.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, no, I appreciate the fact that they do that as well. So moving on the main stage panel, they had BuzzFeed Unsolved. They also had Charles Phoenix, Halloweenland. So that's he talks about Americana. I actually ran into him at Starbucks down the street.
Oh, really?
One day randomly. I was like, hey, you look really familiar. And he's like, yeah, I think I've seen your face around here before too. And all this stuff. So that was really cool. And then obviously that day they had Universal Studios Hollywood's Halloween Horror Nights.
Yep.
They announced Creepshow, which was a huge thing. They actually didn't have Chris Williams there this year because he was sick. And then they were also going to have Greg Nicotero, but he's busy working on Creepshow and Walking Dead and all this stuff. So it was just John Murdy this year announcing everything.
Yeah.
And he didn't waste any time. It's just like, hello, welcome, Creepshow. And just went on.
He knew what everyone was there for.
Oh, yeah, 100%. He wasn't going to pull any punches this year, so I appreciated him for that. So Halloween Horror Nights is another one of those huge panels that like people line up for hours ahead of time.
Oh, yeah.
It's a packed panel. It's always going to be a packed panel. And I feel like the fan base for Halloween Horror Nights is pretty intense.
Yes.
I feel like it's always been intense.
Yeah, they're it's funny because Knott's says like they're diehard fans too, but I feel like Halloween Horror Nights fans are just like, I don't know, more intense. Intense is the perfect word for it.
Also, I think that it helps that their maces are based off of IPs.
That's why.
So they're not just getting the fan base of Hans, they're also getting a fan base for those films.
Yeah.
So I guarantee you, in that line of people going to Halloween Horror Nights are Ghostbuster fans, Killer Clowns fans.
Oh, yeah.
I guarantee you that people knew Creepshow was coming because there's
Yeah.
rumors going around Creepshow fans. So they're waiting in line to hear any information they can about those particular properties.
Yes.
So I think that also helps them in getting butts in the seats.
Yeah.
So, and then moving on to Sunday in the Grand Ballroom, they have 30 years of Tales from the Crypt, the curious creators of Christine McConnell's show.
I'm sad I didn't go to that one.
That one was one of the ones that I think is most unique for being on the main stage.
Well, they just know how popular the show is. And, it drew a big crowd.
But I mean, in general, I'm saying that it's not a haunt. It's not a theme park.
Yeah.
It isn't, like ghost hunting, like from BuzzFeed.
Yeah.
This is about baking, and it has some kid monster friendly things in it.
Yeah.
Which I think is the most interesting part. The show got canceled, which really sucks because I know a lot of people who really enjoyed it. But that's what I was talking about earlier, where, Midsummer has been really including a lot of things that aren't just what you would typically find at a Halloween convention. And this is one of those. So, I mean, we were in front of the line for Queen Mary, and we would hear things coming out of that panel.
I could have snuck in.
You could have.
Well, they were still letting people in. There were still open seats. So, if you weren't waiting for the Queen Mary panel and you just walked up there, they kept asking people, "Oh, you're here for Christine McConnell? Go right in." So I could have walked in and just sat in the back, but we had Erin with us.
We were playing with Erin, making sure she was fine. She was having a good time. So, I could have watched her for you. You could have definitely gone in.
I know. I wanted to, but yeah, whatever. It is what it is.
C'est la vie.
Yeah.
We can't go back in time at this point.
No, we can't.
Anyway, so they had that, and then right after that, there was Queen Mary's Dark Harbor presentation.
Which, thankfully, Erin fell asleep for.
So Nikki sat in the very far back corner of
Which, by the way, great seat. No matter where you sit in there. Honestly, if you're farther back, I would recommend going to the sides because they're angled. And so it's not like you have a head right in front of you.
True.
So, yeah, just tip for next year. If you are in the back of the general admission line, so you're stuck in the back of the room, go to the side because you have a better view.
Yeah. That's actually a good tip.
Yeah.
So, and if you have a zoom lens on your camera, then it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So there you go.
But you can still see him pretty well. It's not that big of a room. So.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to run up and get some photos, no one's going to stop you.
No one. I was walking up and down the side with Erin almost the whole time after she woke up, and no one cared.
Really?
The security guard was sitting right in front of me. I even put her on the ground at one point. It was just like crawl, and she was just crawling around. Yeah. She was like playing with their stacking cups in the corner.
I didn't know that.
I changed her poopy diaper in the back of the room. No
Goodness gracious. Sounds like they're pumping haunt smells up in here.
You got to, no one else was around. That was during Queen Mary, and I was literally alone back there. No one was back there at all.
Yeah, you were in the far back left corner of the room.
Yeah.
And just like that section of seats in that very far corner, nobody was sitting in. So you got really lucky.
Yeah, for knots, it filled up.
Yeah.
So people were around me for knots, but that's when I had Erin just crawling around on the floor, so I wasn't even in my seat anyway.
So nobody had to smell the poopy diaper.
The poopy diaper was during Queen Mary. Queen Mary made her poop.
Don't worry, Nikki didn't leave it there like other crazy people. She tossed it out like a normal human being.
Yeah, I put it in a one of the
smell good bags.
The Arm & Hammer smell seal in bags, and I knotted it up and I put it in the trash can.
Usually when you'd pass those to me, I swing them around like nunchucks.
Yeah, you throw them at your nephews.
My nephews don't like me because I throw them at them. So, or I'll hold them up and be like, hello, here, you want this?
Well, anyway, so Erin stayed asleep.
That was a tangent.
Erin stayed asleep through Queen Mary, and then I just kind of hung out, fingers crossed they wouldn't kick me out. I was like, I have a sleeping baby. And then she woke up halfway through
Scary
Farm panel, yeah.
So, Queen Mary always puts on the best panels, period.
They do. They're
Hands
like a
down,
show.
The best panels.
Yeah.
And that is the reason why. It isn't like, we're announcing this, or we're doing this, or we're talking about the details. It's because of their scare actors, their ad-libbing.
They bring their monsters to the event.
It really is a big show, and it is hysterical.
Yeah.
The actor who plays the captain, I believe, I'm sorry if he's listening, but I believe his name is Bill Hillis. He is phenomenal. He is hysterical. Like, even like at some point during the entire thing where he's berating everybody on stage, saying the worst things possible, he looks at David Wally and he's like, you really wrote me as a dick this year.
Yeah.
And everyone just like lost it.
Yeah.
Because the captain is the type of character where he's just making fun of everybody, no holds barred, just completely railing on people, and it's hysterical because it doesn't feel like it's written, it doesn't feel like it's planned.
He's also just great at his job. He's great
He's
at
so good.
becoming
He's so
the
natural.
captain. Yeah.
And just watching him interact with every single creator on that stage for Queen Mary, it's priceless.
Yeah. And I mean, and Queen Mary knows where their strengths are. And their strengths are their characters that people have come to love throughout the years.
And their bars.
And the bars, yeah. But I honestly, I could do without the bars. I could go to Queen Mary and not see a single bar and be completely fine.
Side conversation, I wish that Queen Mary would utilize their characters more in that sense.
Yeah.
During Dark Harbor than have like extra bars. Like I'd rather have that money go towards like something where I get to watch the captain completely berate people.
Oh my god, if the captain had like just like a comedy hour.
What if it was like the captain's quarters?
The captain's quarters, it's a perfect name.
The captain's quarters.
Like literally like it's one of those like comedy shows, you know, where he's just like
pick people out from the audience.
Completely heckling the audience, just like, what are you doing here with her? Blah, blah, you know, like that type of comedy. Oh my God, that'd be so funny.
And he's good at it, which would be the best thing. Free idea, Queen Mary. There you go. Just throwing it out there. The captain's quarters. Or just having the captain, like, you know, remember at Halloween Horror Nights used to have barkers, like, in the middle of, like, a scare zone, just like, making fun of people? Have the captain standing on, like, a podium in the middle of a scare zone, just berating people as they walk by.
Yeah.
Like, that would be phenomenal.
Like, kind of like what he does at the opening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as people walk in, he kind of stands there, but like have a dedicated spot for him to kind of just stand and do something. Like even, you know how like in the back of Queen Mary's Dark Harbor where the entrances to the mazes for the ships are, there's that walkway above the top of that.
Yeah.
He could stand there and look down at people who are there because that's the area where there's a lot of space. So if a crowd were to form, it wouldn't be that detrimental to, you know, flow of people and things like that.
Oh, you know, okay, this is away from the captain. Do you know, I didn't tell you this. Like, I just saw because I was in the back of the room. You know how they announced that Dead Rise wasn't coming back?
Yeah.
You know our favorite character from Dead Rise, the guy... Chicken nuggets, the guy at the exit. So there's this guy that always scares at Dead Rise at the end of the exit tunnel.
So to give people a visual, like to help them visualize this, the end of that maze is a giant shipping container, and they shine bright lights at you
through the fog,
and it's completely filled with fog. So when you're walking towards the exit,
you can't see anything.
You can't see anything,
but they can see you.
They could see you from a mile away, and there's usually a crowd of people waiting to watch people exit because the monsters are coming from on top of you, from below you, from every which direction. And you just never know where they're going to come from.
At least for the past 3 years, there's always the same actor at the exit
who will reach at people's faces because that's what they do. Chicken nuggets.
And he just one year he was on a McDonald's kick. I don't know.
McDonald's.
But he's just so funny. He is my favorite part. I'll sit there and watch him for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, well, he was hysterical.
When he was the actor was in the back of the room.
Oh, was he really?
Yeah, no, but when they announced that Dead Rise wasn't coming back, he was just back there going, boo! He was just booing and like yelling, and I was just looking over like, oh my god, I love you. He was so funny. Like, that's just him, you know?
Yeah.
I think he'll be in whatever new maze is.
Oh, I'm sure. He's still gonna be there.
They announced the maze. I can't remember now.
Rogue.
The Rogue Wave. Yeah. So I'm sure he'll be in that. But man, he was heckling them because Dead Rise wasn't coming back, and
Isn't that when the captain kind of lost it and he was like going to fight somebody?
Yeah.
Like, he was like getting up out of his seat and he's like, I'm gonna beat you up.
Yeah.
He kind of lost it. And they introduced a new character that's going to be at Dark Horizons, which is their new haunt in Orlando, which I liked their nod to the previous character because the actress who plays this new character, which is a pirate, she was originally the original ringmaster for Circus.
Yeah.
So she said like this jumbling of words where she's like, so I'm the ringmaster of Dark Horizons.
And then they're like,
and she made like
ring leader.
She made like a face, like
master.
Like wink, wink, nod, nod. You get it? I'm the same person.
Yeah.
I really appreciated that because it's just the wordplay leading to that. And I was like,
You could tell by her voice, though. It totally just sounded like her.
Oh, well, I was sitting up front and I saw her face and it's just like, I know who you are.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that doesn't bother me. I appreciate her as an actress. And even though I recognized her, I was like, fun. She gets to play a different character.
Yeah.
But she still has the same kind of charisma, which was nice.
Yeah.
So, Queen Mary's Dark Harbor, like I said, absolutely phenomenal every single year. I will never miss Queen Mary's panels because they are too funny. I don't think I laughed harder that weekend. Other than that. Like, that was the funniest.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. And then after that was Not Scary Farm. So Not Scary Farm never really announces anything anymore, like major.
Yeah.
They usually save everything for their announcement event that happens in late August. So it was funny because I walked up to Jeff Tucker, who's usually the presenter for Not Scary Farm. I was like, hey, Jeff, I'm really excited about Not Scary Farm. I'm ready for 2 hours of intricate audio talk because there was one year where they basically just talked about audio the entire time.
Yeah.
It was a few years ago. And he goes, be careful what you ask for. And I'm like, what? They talked about audio for a portion of this presentation.
Cool way.
But in a very cool way. And they gave audio representations and examples of what they were talking about. So I think it was a much better, more concise way of talking about audio than the previous year. Yeah. They even gave examples because they were talking about Dark Ride, which Dark Ride is coming back. They announced that. And they gave an example of the different versions of the music that are kind of playing throughout the maze, because while you're in the portion where it's the Dark Ride, it is a clear, clean version of the music, but once you go backstage, it's all broken down and skipping. So they played both in conjunction to kind of show you how it sounds and how different it was, which just hearing the music from Dark Ride, I loved.
I got excited.
I got jazzed just hearing it.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate the audio tech team that really build the sound design for these mazes, because it is something that is overlooked, because when people go through the maze, it's done so well that people are like, oh, well, that's what it's supposed to sound like. That's what it is.
Yeah.
If that's how good it is and that it's not noticeable, then you've done your job.
Yeah.
So I always appreciate that. They also announced that Special Ops Infected is coming back
for its final year.
Yeah. And tell them why. Do you not remember? Well, remember they announced that it wasn't coming back because they wanted to tell them about the new product that they're going to be offering.
The pin.
Yes.
Oh,
the pin series.
I thought you meant why Infected wasn't coming back next year.
Oh, no.
But I was like, that. I don't know that.
Because we hate it?
No, we like it.
No, we like it.
No, the reason that they announced...
They found a cure for the zombie infestation.
Oh, yeah. The reason they announced that it was their last year...
Rutabaga was the cure.
...is because they are starting a new pin series for their retired mazes.
Which is really cool.
It's really cool, yeah. So this year at Not Scary Farm, they're going to have a pin for Infected's final year.
I really, really like that. Yeah. It's a fun idea. And they're going to have like a pin board that looks like a graveyard, which is really nice. I wish they did this a long time ago, because I would totally have maze.
Maybe they'll back.
What word are you trying to think of?
Like backtrack is the wrong word.
No, I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah, maybe they'll slowly release...
Retroactively.
Yeah, maybe they'll slowly release pins from previously gone mazes.
Because, like, I would love classic maze, like, ones, like 13 Axe Murder Manor, or Killer Clowns, or like any of those, Malice in Wonderland, having that might have been Universal, but I think it's Malice in Wonderland. The 3D one, or Labyrinth, like all those classic mazes that from Not Scary Farm's past. I love little pins of that. That would be super fun. And then they also announced that 2 new characters for Dark Ride and 2 new rooms for Dark Ride 2. So they at least gave some morsels to talk about in detail in their panel. It just... They save all the heavy hitters for much later. Yeah. So I'm totally okay with that. Yeah. So overall, for like the main show panels, like those were all pretty standard and really good.
Yeah, pretty cool.
The only thing that we were missing was Six Flags, because they just weren't there for some reason. Yeah. I'm not quite sure why, but Six Flags didn't make a show this year.
We hope to see them in the future.
Because I appreciate hearing the information about Fright Fest and like this new scare zones, because they've been trying to be pretty innovative with the newest things that they've been doing. Yeah. So hopefully we'll hear something soon from them, because I like hearing from them. Yeah. And then they also had a secondary panel room, which was actually called the second stage. So in the second stage, they had From Creep to the Willows and Beyond, JFI Productions, Real Witches of Southern California, Shockwaves, Collection Complete Collecting in the Horror Space with Gemmer, Spooky and Strange Themed Bars in California, which was hosted by Rick West himself. Yes. They had Winchester Mystery House presentation, so Winchester talks about what they're going to be doing for that year's event. In prior years, they've given up free tickets to their event if you've attended their panel. So that's actually pretty exciting. Or giving out free artwork.
I want to go to that one year.
I do too.
I've been to the Winchester Mystery House.
This year they're doing actual, like a traditional haunt with scare actors.
Really?
They've never done that before.
Cool.
Usually it's like spooky, like, ooh, we're walking around, we're on ghost stories.
Yeah, just walking around at night,
But now they're actually going to have scare actors, which is exciting. 13th Floor Entertainment LA Haunted Hayride presentation. They gave out free tickets to their haunt.
Yes, they did.
That was nice.
Yes.
World building, creating alternative realities and immersive experiences, and then Nightmare University Hellraiser 101. So obviously there's a lot of different like secondary panels that you can go to, and what I'm most angry about, and this is built purposefully. Yeah. If there was things you wanted to see on both those things, there was no way in heck that you could make it work.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're going to stay for part of it and then leave and not see the whole thing.
Yeah.
But this whole schedule is designed so that you cannot do everything.
It's to break up the crowds.
It really is.
Which is smart.
No, it's 100% smart, and I wouldn't want them to change that because I wouldn't want the crowds to be that crazy.
Yeah, we just have to prioritize what we want.
But then you're going to have to really decide, oh, man, I have to choose between these two.
Yeah.
And then you're really going to feel really crappy about it afterwards because you're going to have to really decide what you think is best.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's designed for that. I'm fine with it. But yeah, it makes it very difficult to choose what you want to do.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of really cool options. And because there was a lot of things on the second stage that I would have loved to go to.
Oh, same.
No time.
Yeah, the
There's
Winchester and the Haunted Hayride. Mm-hmm. And others.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And then, other than the secondary panels, there was a lot of extra activities to do at Midsummer Scream, which was also on this handy-dandy massive map. So, just going through the list of the different things that they have, one of them was Final Conflict, Godzilla Toy Auction. Bid on items from a massive collection of Godzilla and Kaiju at Final Conflict, the world of Godzilla toys produced by Peekaboo Gallery.
Their signs were funny, and a lot of people were making fun of them all weekend to take pictures.
It said live Godzilla auction.
It just said live Godzilla auction, and everyone was like posting it or tweeting and being like, "How big is that room?"
Well, like in my Instagram story, I was like, "That room must be pretty big."
Yeah.
You know, obviously everybody was going to make fun of it. So what's the next one on the list?
Fox Searchlight's Ready or Not Experience, presented by Sinister Pointe Productions. And this is that movie...
Ready or Not.
Ready or Not. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen a trailer for it with the bride running around.
Basically hide and seek, but they're going to kill her.
Yeah.
Then there's Fallen Saints. Preview the latest chapter of Force of Nature Productions' theatrical haunt experience exclusively at Midsummer Screen performances throughout the day.
Yeah, and then the next one is Urban Death, and this one is a favorite every year for everybody. Zombie Joe's Underground Theater Group puts on their Urban Death show, and this year they did something different, and they also had a family-friendly show. You
really needed to pay attention to the times.
Yeah.
Because the non-family friendly version has a lot of nudity, both equally male and female nudity.
Yep.
But how horrible would it have been if you're like, we're going to go see the family friendly one? Penis, boobs, it's everywhere.
In your face.
Oh my God. Mommy, what's that? Oh my God. Trying to cover your kid's eyes. So please make sure that that you focus on like when the family-friendly version is.
Yeah, but it's a good show. I mean, we didn't go to the family-friendly one, and we didn't go at all this year at Midsummer. But
we never get a chance to.
We never do. We're just too busy.
We're too busy. We're running around panel to panel trying to cover things. But we've
been to their actual Urban Death show at their
Urban
location,
Death is phenomenal.
And it's great.
It's really messed up.
It makes you feel feelings. It's weird, but it's good.
It makes you feel feelings.
It does. Many different emotions.
For some reason, that reminded me of the scene from Dewey Cox Walk Hard, where he's like, "Drugs make everything better. You don't want none of this." It's like, I think I want some of that. It makes you feel feelings. After Urban Death, they have the private photo ops. So if you pre-purchase photos with Cassandra Peterson or Kimberly J. Brown, you can meet them and take a photo with them there, which is nice.
Oh, and then, sorry, I didn't realize it was my turn.
Talk, then you talk.
Yeah. And then, so all those were on the lower level, and then you go up to the second floor, and you had classrooms A and B, and this is where they have their, like, curriculum for haunt, Halloween, and horror education, like how to build stuff, how to put on a haunt, all that stuff. Probably makeup, all of those different things.
There's actually a myriad of different things. And a few of them are like actually workshops where you build something and take it home.
Yeah.
So they have flicker boxes. They have a Haunted Mansion tombstone. They have the Haunted Mansion wreaths from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Well, those are all stuff that they were making on...
No, those were the things. Those were the class things. They happen to just be on the show floor.
On the show floor.
Those were part of the education things.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and then they have stuff like the Sound of Fear, importance of audio and haunted attractions, makeup safety workshop, projection mapping on a budget, horror of the exotic, the dark side of tiki, lurking horrors, haunt safety tips, spirit of voodoo, a look into Victorian Louisiana. There's plenty of different things to go to where you're really trying to delve into building your own haunt and learning different aspects of the entire experience, which is pretty cool.
That's really
because
cool.
That means Midsummer isn't just about theme parks and fans and liking spooky things, it is also there for people who want to get into that world.
Oh, yeah.
Who want to get into that business. Because that business is very difficult and hard to get into.
Or if you're just really hardcore about putting on your own home haunt.
Yeah, in which it exists too.
Yeah.
So it's just another level, another layer of the onion of Midsummer Scream. There was also the podcast studio, which we are a little familiar with, where interviews with horror and haunted attraction pros and experts recorded in front of the live audience by your favorite podcasters, which we had one.
What are your favorite podcasters?
According to this in here, we're the favorites.
Yeah, so we obviously, if you listen to our last episode,
we're the favorites.
We are the favorite. We had a live podcast recording at Midsummer Scream, and it went great.
Yeah, we had a lot more people there than I was expecting. So
one of the best parts is we got to go in the green room beforehand, and if you're ever been down on the show floor, if you look up behind you from the entrance, it's that windowed room that looks down over the show floor.
The best view.
We got the best view of the show. It was pretty cool. We took pictures. It was fun.
Of course.
Yeah, I ate a Kit Kat up there. That's it.
That's your claim to fame.
Yeah.
I Kit Kat in the green room.
You sat in the massage chair.
For like all of 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Then Jeff Shufflebein, who's the owner of Sinister, Pointe, he was the one we were interviewing. He walked in. I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to sit in the massage chair when I shake his hand. So I got up. So it was all of 5 seconds.
Still cool. Well, I mean, we could have gone in the room earlier, but we didn't.
Nikki, what did you do at Midsummer? I ate a Kit Kat.
I ate a Kit Kat. In a room of green.
It wasn't really.
It wasn't green. It was all black.
It was mostly black, orange, and tan. Okay, moving on.
Moving on. The next one is the Screaming Room. HorrorBuzz.com present. No, don't laugh the way I said it.
No, I'm laughing because it's just a room. People are going.
Yes, that's all it is. You just go in there and let out your frustration.
It's just frustration.
Yeah, it's like one of those rooms where you go in and break everything. You have like a mallet.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
They have those.
They should do that there.
They should. Okay, well anyway, HorrorBuzz.com presents a curated lineup of horror short films, blocks. Short film blocks showcasing a wide variety of styles from around the globe. Thank you for the assist.
You're welcome. I'm here to catch you. I'm your spotter. Crypt TV actually had some stuff here. So that's pretty cool. So you could have seen a lot of the new Crypt TV lineup, which was pretty fun.
Cool.
They also had the Black Cat Lounge, a room filled with kittens to cuddle and play with, all up for adoption through Kitten Rescue.
I love that room.
This, I think, is one of the most popular things at Midsummer.
It's really hard to get into it. So, okay.
Very hard.
So,
this is about time we'd have a conversation about this.
Yes. Okay, so this is another perk for Gold Bat. If you have a Gold Bat and you really want to get into the Black Cat Lounge, you scurry your butt up to the second floor as soon as you get into the building. As you get into the building at 10, and you get a return ticket for a time to come back. Or you can just hang out up there, be in the first group, because the return time start at 11.
Yeah.
So you could do that, or you could go downstairs and get a pin, which is $15, and part of that is a donation to the cat rescue. And that pin
was front of line,
air quotes, supposedly front of the line, so to where you didn't need a return time. You could just go up and go to the Black Cat Lounge wherever you want. For me personally, it didn't work out that way, but other people might have had a different experience with it.
There really seemed to be like a confusion of how that worked and the details behind it, because we knew about this because we heard it on social media. So we're like, oh, Nikki, this is perfect because this is what you've been wanting to do.
I could go in a couple times.
You should just get the front of line. Yeah. It'll work out great. So when we went to the show floor, we got in line, and I was going to go buy the mug and I was going to buy the pin.
Yeah.
So we got in line. I asked for the mug and I got the pin, and I saw her handing out tickets, and I overheard her saying, like, you have to get this ticket in order to get in front of line. I was like, okay, perfect. So she handed me a ticket. So I got it, and she goes, well, we're out of tickets. So I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. So like the button still works, right? She goes, no, if you don't have the ticket, then it's no longer front of line. You're just buying the pin. Yeah. I was like, but the pin is supposed to give you front of line.
Yeah.
She goes, well, we're out of tickets. I'm like, okay, well,
so
I'm not going to get the pin then.
That was Saturday. And then so I said, okay, whatever. First thing in the morning Sunday, I'll go up with Aaron. We'll go to the Black Cat Lounge. And while I was up there, I was up there at 10. And I was just going to wait and go in with the first group. And I asked the guy up there, who works for the cat rescue, about the pin. And he's like, it was a girl. The guy was later. But so the girl, she just said, oh, yeah, if you have the pin, we'll just let you in whenever. We don't need the ticket.
So the ticket didn't matter.
The ticket didn't matter.
But
so
the people selling it thought it did. So there was a little bit of cross wires there with not the right information.
Miscommunication. So anyway, I just waited. It has worked for me every year. Just waiting as soon as you get in at 10. If you have gold bat, if you don't have gold bat, you just need to get a return time. But for me, it has worked just waiting at 10 on Sunday, get right in, spend time with the kitties. And this year was really fun with Erin because she lost her mind. She's like, oh my God, cats. And she was crawling around.
What was she like?
Oh my God, cats. And she was crawling around trying to chase after them unsuccessfully. But then there was one time where she was pulled herself up onto a bench and a kitty came over and sniffed her hand. It was so cute. And then that
you had
same
plenty
cat,
of really good Instagram stories throughout the weekend.
And that same cat let her pet him. And then she started to pull out fur.
Just with her little thumb and index finger, just.
But he didn't even care. And you know how cats have a lot of shedding? So I think she was just pulling out fur that was already
She was
loose.
being helpful.
Yeah, she was just helping. No, but anyway, he didn't mind. He was a really chill kitten. If there was a cat I would take home, it was this dude because he
Shed me.
He was so cute.
Shed me of my fur.
Don't be awkward.
What?
Well, anyway. But okay, so after that, I was like, oh, great. This is awesome. I immediately went down and I bought the pin.
Which the pin is gorgeous.
Awesome. I'm glad I have it. It's super cute. It has a really cute black cat on it with tiki stuff behind it. Yeah. So I'm happy I have the pin regardless. But at about 1 o'clock, would you say?
Yeah, about one or two, yeah.
I went back up and we were waiting in line for...
I was waiting in line for Queen Mary. You took her to go to the Black Cat Lounge.
We were an hour and a half early for Queen Mary. So I was like, oh, cool. I'll just take Aaron over to the Black Cat Lounge. I got the timing wrong. Yeah, we were very early. And so I was like, oh, cool. I'll take Aaron over to the Black Cat Lounge. So there was a small line of mixed time slot people. Oh, no, it was...
Just Black Cat people.
No, it was just... So there was a line of just... people with the Black Cat pin, and then on the other side there was a line of time slot people, and the way that the pin was presented to us was
front of
priority
line. Priority entrance.
But what ended up happening was they would take a whole bunch of people from the time slot line, and what the Black Cat pin basically was at a theme park, it's like a single rider line. So they would take 1 or 2 or 3 people from the Black Cat pin line each time they let a group in, but they only let a group in every 15 to 20 minutes. So if I was 10 people deep, I would be there for 2 hours. It's over an hour,
2 hours.
So, and I can't wait in that with the babies. So for me, the Black Cat pin was a little bit of false advertising. And it was upsetting at the time because I had a baby with me and she was tired, and it was I just couldn't spend the time up there.
You got frustrated.
And the pin was supposed to alleviate that, which it didn't.
Yeah.
And so, and I just feel like it would make someone really upset if they go down by the pin first thing and it's like, oh, great, I don't need to go up and get a time slot now. I'm good. I spent money on an entry. And then you have to wait so long to get in. It would be very disappointing for something that you're spending money on to get something.
See, I don't know if this is a miscommunication between the kitten rescue and Midsummer, or it was literally a miscommunication between the crew of Midsummer who didn't quite understand,
or they just didn't realize, or maybe they just didn't realize the logistics of what would happen. With another line.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the instances or problems were that kind of led to this, but I do think that as a whole, the Black Cat Lounge is a very difficult thing to produce and have at a con like this, because ultimately, the main goal of having this is to get these kittens rescued, like that, and a forever home.
Spread awareness.
Spread awareness. Get them adopted. Earn money for them.
Yeah.
For a good cause. That is the whole point of this, and it's very difficult because you need to have people who are in there to have the amount of time that they need if they are truly going to adopt a kitten.
Yeah.
Of course, there's a handful of people who are going to go there with I want to roll around with cats.
Me.
You
me.
and a whole bunch of other people, not just you.
My husband is allergic to cats.
I'm very allergic. But
it's my only time to play with kitties. Once a year.
It's not only you, but a majority of people go because they're just I love cats. I want to hang out with cats.
Yeah.
Which is totally cool, but it's hard to walk that line.
But
because you want to appease both.
Yeah.
But then even the people, because the people who are going to buy that pin, I feel like inevitably are going to be the people who are going to want to play with the cats. The people who are going to go, who are I want to adopt a cat, are probably going to go first thing. The people who know that's there, who are going to do that.
I was in line.
Spur the moment adoptions probably happen.
First thing I did was go up there on Sunday, and I was in line with a dad and his daughter, and the daughter had been in there the day before, seen a cat she really liked, and was going back
to adopt it.
To meet that cat again to adopt it.
Proves my point.
Yes, literally the first people in line on Sunday was someone who wanted to buy a cat.
Proves my point exactly. So I think it's a fine line to walk when you're trying to appease both groups of people. But when you're having a pin that says this is front of line, that has an idea, because the entire group of people that are at Midsummer are used to theme parks too.
Yeah.
So when you say front of line, that has a certain connotation to it.
Yeah.
If it's not going to be true front of line, then it shouldn't say front of line.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know if that's a Midsummer problem. I don't know if that's a kitten rescue problem or what happened. There was clearly wires crossed, but it should have been clear on what it actually was.
I think
it needed to be clear.
And if they're going to do something like this again, and if the demand is as high as it seems, I think they should, if they have the room, I think they should have 2 kitten rooms.
2 kitten rooms, a bigger room?
Yeah.
So that you allow more people in with each reservation?
Yeah.
Or, make the reservation shorter? I don't know. That's hard too, because how do you find a kitten that you like if
you only have 15 minutes?
If you only have 15 minutes, I guess you would have to come back, but then the next day, but even then, does that guarantee that that kitten's going to be there?
Yeah.
But also on top of that, if you were to leave, you're oh, I really want that cat. Can you just go back, or do you have to sign up for a time to even get the cat? I feel like if you were to show up and there would be there was a cat there, I want to adopt them, file paperwork, I feel like they would probably just let you in.
They would probably.
Because the whole goal is for that to happen.
Yeah.
I doubt that'd be get back in line.
Yeah. So it's a tricky situation because you're dealing with a very unhaunt type atmosphere and event, and you're dealing with live animals that that can't just be bombarded with people, so there's certain constraints with a thing like this. And I love that Midsummer has this at their event and puts in the effort to have something like this there. I think the pin, the upcharge pin, needs to be fine-tuned. Definitely
fine-tuned for it to make sense.
Yeah.
And so that there isn't frustrations involved like what you experienced.
Yeah.
So, totally fine. I mean, I think the Black Cat Lounge is still a really fun addition to Midsummer as a whole.
Yeah.
Like I've continued to say, it's another one of those things that is a completely different aspect of the Halloween season that you just don't think about.
Yeah.
That kind of adds another level. Once again, another layer to that onion of Midsummer Scream. So then we have the Theater Macabre, a variety of live theatrical productions from spook shows to radio plays and more. So they have that. And that's pretty much it. So there's plenty of secondary extra activities for people to do that aren't show floor, that isn't spooky, scary Hall of Shadows, that isn't theme park panels, any of that. So that's really cool that there is a variety of different pieces of entertainment that you can do that isn't the traditional what you would think at a con.
Yeah, I mean, people could go to Midsummer Scream and literally have 2 completely different experiences, and never cross paths at all, because there's just so many things to see and do. You could go and have a great time and just do panels and extra things and never go to the show floor. Or you could spend the whole time in the show floor in the Hall of Shadows. Like, there's so much to do. It should be 3 days.
It needs to be more days.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah.
Lastly, before I actually forget to actually include this, but they even have a variety of different kid-friendly activities that are more for the young kids who are into spooky Halloween stuff. So you can meet Kimberly J. Brown as she reads the Poppins Pumpkin Patch Parade. Wow, that is a lot of P's. Alliteration beyond all belief. Annie Banani, the balloon storyteller, The Prize of Fright, Monsters, Games, and Prizes, Drawing Monsters with Jimmy Purcell, Buster Balloon's Halloween Spooktacular, The Prize of Fright, Monsters, Games, and Prizes. They also have Best Fiends Forever, special meet and greet with Leanna Vamp and the Fiends, who we met her.
Yeah.
I've met her before because I'm pretty sure I've said this on the show before, but I work at Crypt TV, and we've done stuff with her, so she's been in our office before, and I've met Leanna multiple times. Very, very nice. She met Aaron. She loved that Aaron was into the spooky stuff, so very nice to meet her. Lots of different variety. Kids costume parade.
Yeah.
There, lots of fun, family-friendly, kid-friendly things to do as well that you don't have to be worried like, oh, what if a monster's going to walk up to my kid and he's going to be a little spooked out?
Yeah.
This is a safe zone for them.
And it was a really cute area they had set up with like coloring tables and the stage and like a little popcorn
They had like tiki pumpkin cutouts and stuff. There was a lot of really fun, cute stuff.
Area. If Erin was like a few years older, she totally could have hung out there. But
100%.
yeah, a little too little.
In a couple years, maybe.
Yeah.
So, and then this kind of brings us, because we've kind of talked about all the different offerings, the value of the tickets, the myriad of different things that kind of are involved in Midsummer Scream. Where can they improve? Where are the things that can make Midsummer Scream take it to the next level?
Yeah.
For me, one small thing that I think would be nice that they can do for next year, if they would like to do this, is in that main kind of thoroughfare, before you go to the show floors, once you're in the building, they should just play some light Halloween music. Get people in the mood. Have just spooky music, even if it's like atmospheric, or if you want to play like radio type music, so like Dead Man's Party, you play Dead Man's Party or something, or like old school Halloween music that's like from the 50s or something. Whatever it may be, just something to kind of get people like jazzed about being there, because as it is, it's just a whole bunch of noise of people talking. I'm not saying blare music or anything like the entrance of Halloween Horror Nights. Just something very low and mellow, just to get in the vibe. Background music. I think that would be very nice.
That would be nice, yeah. I think my biggest thing would be, adding a third day would be great. Like for having it open that Friday, maybe even for just like a preview night where like maybe just the Hall of Shadows and the show floor is open.
I don't remember who said this, but I have to give them credit. Whoever it was, I'm sorry if you're listening and I'm taking this from you. I don't remember who said it, but somebody said, open it up on Friday, half day, but only open it for the show floor.
The show floor.
So the people who don't want to see like haunted houses,
panels.
The people who don't care about the panels, they only care about like the marketplace part of it. All the different vendors. Open up half price day, like $15 to get in, and allow people to come in and shop.
Yeah. But
and
then
experience the show
floor. You run into like hiccups like, well, should the exclusive stuff be available that day? Because then it would sell out.
No, it's not exclusive.
No, not exclusive.
You have to attend the entire weekend to get the exclusive stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. So I think that'd be a great option, and it might lessen the crowds on Saturday and Sunday.
Because like if we had that, I would have been happy to go and spend our time there, not have to worry about like, oh, we have to go to this panel and go to this panel and go to this panel.
Yeah, and then on Saturday and Sunday you focus on the panels. Maybe we could finally see Zombie Joe's there.
Yeah, something like that,
Yeah.
I whatever it may be, but I do think a third day in whatever capacity is kind of needed at this point. Because there truly is so much.
Yeah.
And a third day, even if they aren't going to do it like how we've described, it would allow them to kind of expand their options when it comes to whatever they're going to be showing in panels. And that
they could make it a full-fledged day and have even panels that day. Maybe nothing like crazy big, like Dark Harbor or Knott's or Universal, but some of the other panels could be on Friday.
Mm-hmm. And Friday could be a cheaper ticket too.
Could be, yeah.
Because it's a work day.
Well, just like how Sunday is cheaper than Saturday, Friday could be cheaper too. Yeah, so totally, that's my suggestion. Have some sort of third day, and a no bag line for the check-in, I guess.
Yeah, a no bag line would be very, very helpful. On the same note, I would be running to the front of the convention center because there just was not reception, so I would have to go to the front in order to send things.
Yeah.
But every time I would go there, I would hear people like trying to exit, and they're like, "Oh, well, if you exit, you have to go through security again." This is something that I don't know if that's actually true, if there was miscommunication, or if that is actually the fact that as soon as you exit, you have to go through security
to go
again.
out to like the food vendors.
Yeah, to the food trucks. So I think that if that were the case, if I didn't completely misunderstand this, if that is the case, there needs to be a way to allow people to enter and exit at their will if they're just going to the food trucks.
Yeah.
Like if there's a way to barricade off a certain area so that you can keep people out while still keeping people who are in the convention in.
Or maybe a stamp on their wristband.
Stamp on the wristband, like I've been through security or something.
Yeah.
But even then, like, there has to be some way to keep things safe still while allowing people to kind of enter and exit.
Yeah, because you don't want getting lunch to turn into like an hour wait through security again. It's just not worth it.
Yeah.
Honestly, we ate at the inside place because we never wanted to do.
Which I have problems beyond all belief.
I really wanted a sushi burrito, but I didn't want to go outside.
I didn't want to go outside. Yeah, so there was that. There has to be some way around it to kind of make things a little bit easier and flow a little bit better so that people don't have to constantly go through security. And that is, once again, if I understood it correctly. I could be 100% wrong.
Maybe.
But from what I heard, that's what I thought I heard.
I don't remember what we did last year because we went out to the food trucks last year.
We just walked back in.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Maybe it was a misinformed security guard that you heard.
Maybe. It was the same lady both times. So it very well could be that. I had major issues with the grills that were like the food places inside the convention center.
Yeah.
And this is not Midsummer Scream related.
Most of our things
are not Midsummer Scream related.
Midsummer Scream issues, they're convention center issues.
The only one was the black cat thing. That's our only Midsummer related issue.
Pretty much.
Everything else, like you said, is Long Beach Convention Center related. Long Beach Convention Center related.
Which you'd have with any convention center you go to. They're all going to have their own way of running things, and that's not always going to mesh with your event. And so that's always going to be an issue.
Rules and regulations.
Yeah, but we're just talking about our experience at Midsummer Scream.
Yeah. I had a huge problem with those. Like, at least the one we went to, there was a fairly large line of people waiting. There was 2 registers open. So I would say there was maybe 10 people in line waiting to get food. As I ordered my food, I heard one of the people cooking, like, "Why'd you take that guy's order?" She goes, "Well, she told me to." And then the woman came over and said, "We're only using 1 register now," which essentially turns a line of 10 into a line of 20.
Yeah.
Because you've stopped taking orders. So you've made all those other people wait significantly longer now because you can't handle the capacity, which is very annoying because they should have more people in order to, effectively take care of the amount of people that are coming into the convention center.
Yeah.
Yes, there are multiple different locations. People can go to other locations. But if the Long Beach Convention Center knows that this place is going to be filled, why would they make it in a way that you are not able to take care of the amount of people that are going to be bombarding this place?
Yeah, like if you know...
Let alone cutting down the line like that.
If you know that Midsummer Scream sold 30,000 tickets, it's like, oh, I better prepare for that many burgers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, you should get prepped. And the fact that you're closing down half the line and then making everybody else wait is a terrible move.
Yeah.
That is absolutely horrendous. I'm glad I ordered my food before that happened because I would have been beyond mad.
We would have been waiting a long time for our burgers. We'd still be there.
We'd still be waiting.
So I mean, small little things like that, mostly convention center issues. It got very hot.
The AC kept going on, off, off.
Yeah, so that's probably another convention center thing. But the AC, personally, I think it should have just stayed on. With that many bodies in that room, it was like sweltering every time the AC
I thought it was
off.
just me, because I'm carrying a 22-pound meat sack of a baby throughout the convention center.
She was strapped to my chest. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I carried her a lot too. Don't.
When in the sweltering heat of Saturday at like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock.
It wasn't like sweltering.
She was strapped to me.
It was pretty warm.
Hot. It was hot.
It was definitely warm.
Yeah, it wasn't sweltering.
Because the AC wasn't consistent. It just kept turning on and off.
So it was like I was having hot flashes. I'd be fine when the AC was on, then it would turn off and I'd like start sweating, and then it would turn back on again. So it was a roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah, it's just like I thought it was just me, and then like some of our friends were like, "It's really hot in here." I was like, "Okay, thank God it's not just me."
Yeah,
I thought I had something wrong with me, but no. Yeah, the AC issue was kind of a problem for us, and like we were getting pretty overheated. Carrying Aaron and trying to just walk around the show floor.
There's a lot of people there, and it happened Saturday, but I don't remember it happening Sunday. I think Saturday was a lot more crowded, and we were at the show floor longer. I think it was mostly the show floor that was that bad.
Yeah, because we were upstairs most of the time on Sunday for panels, so there wasn't much that we could do about it, and it was quite cool in there, which was nice.
Yeah, it was fine.
So those are really the only things that I can think of where they could kind of improve. And once again, most of those things are just Long Beach Convention Center related. Yeah. This kind of leads me into my next question is, where do we go from here? And does this mean that if Midsummer keeps getting larger and larger and larger, that they're going to have to leave the Long Beach Convention Center at some point?
I mean, maybe, but, for now, I think it's still doable here if they kind of cap their tickets, I've, like...
See, is it worth it to cap the tickets and create an experience that's, manageable?
Yeah.
Or is it better to expand and sell more tickets so that they're able to create a much bigger event? I guess there's a lot of pros and cons that come with both those decisions.
Well, if they're going to stay at the Long Beach Convention Center, it can't get much bigger.
It really can't.
Yeah.
A big part of... I think, like, the only thing that I think was kind of unbearable was if you were coming out of a panel or trying to go into a panel on the main stage, when they cross paths, that was pretty horrendous.
Yeah.
It's just so many bodies,
and
such little space.
Yeah, we were talking about this, and I think that, and you think that it's kind of a bottleneck situation. Everyone is waiting to go into the next panel, but before that happens, the current panel has to let out, and everyone is funneling past you out of the panel while you're waiting to go in, and so it creates this bottleneck situation. There's just a lot of people up on that walkway, and it's a very small walkway. Half of it's taken up by giant cats. So which I love the cats.
Giant
I don't want them to go anywhere. I love the cats, but I think it would be great if the gold bat line stays upstairs, but they move the general admission line for the hall to downstairs. They have a lot more room to form the line. It would alleviate confusion over which was the gold bat line and which was the general line, and it would just really ease up people leaving and people going in and having it just be really, really, really crowded up there.
Yeah, I think that would be that's one of the only things that I think Midsummer that I've had with Midsummer, and I think they could change. I think that's a thing they could actually make a difference with.
I mean, I don't know if the logistics, like if it's too hard getting everyone up the escalators and up the stairs, to get them into the hall.
I feel like it's like, what if somebody's in a wheelchair? How are you going to save their spot in line? Yeah. What if somebody's in a power chair? What if there's a whole bunch of cutters? Like there's a lot of X factors involved with moving people. Which is
probably why it's not downstairs. Maybe you can move it down further down the walkway, but a lot of the times the general admission line stretches that far anyway. But to where the rooms are. But so there's a lot of factors that we're probably not aware of that led to the decision for both lines to be up there. But it is kind of stressful.
I mean, that is also the reason why I really enjoyed when all the main panels were in that separate, building down the way, because you had all of the mass of humanity that would be coming out of those panels completely separated from the people that were over in the main show floor.
Yeah, that was
quite nice.
I don't know why it's not there anymore.
I mean, they had to trek down and around the corner. It wasn't horrible,
I didn't mind doing it.
I didn't mind it either, but I understand why people didn't appreciate it.
Yeah.
To me, it wasn't a huge deal, and I wouldn't mind it coming back just so that, the crowds could get separated even more.
Yeah.
But I understand why they're not using it.
Yeah.
I think that Midsummer is either going to have to cap their tickets or they're going to have to move. Long Beach is not going to get any bigger. The convention center isn't going to grow, but this convention is going to continuously grow year after year after year, and eventually they're just going to have to move. It's inevitable. It's always inevitable.
So I mean, it's, but that's Midsummer Scream decision, and, I'll be happy with it at the Long Beach Convention Center for as long as it's there. I'll just make sure I have Gold Bat or press. We have a podcast, obviously we have press, but so
hopefully,
fingers crossed. But yeah, or Gold Bat. I would never go without Gold Bat.
Never. I would never go without Gold Bat.
So as long as it is where it is, and we know where we stand and where the situation is, I'm just gonna make sure I have the best time I possibly can, which is Gold Bat, and I encourage everyone else to do the same while tickets are available.
and when it comes to the offerings and where do we go from here, I think I would never change. I think the amount of vendors that they had this year is actually the golden amount.
I think it's a great number. I think this is perfect.
I think if it were to get bigger, I think it would just get obscene.
It'd be it's a bit overwhelming right now, but it's manageable.
Yeah.
I don't think it should get any bigger with vendors, but it can't because they've used up the entire bottom area. Mm-hmm. That's it.
If anything, maybe some changes and additions to the Hall of Shadows. Maybe, do we really need vendors in the Hall of Shadows? I don't think that's necessary. No. It takes up a little bit of extra space that doesn't need to be taken up. They could give to more walkway space.
Yeah.
All the vendors can be moved out into the main area.
Yeah,
just put them right at the entrance.
Yeah.
Just literally put them right at the entrance of the Hall of Shadows.
I get why they do it and why they did it this year. They were mostly vendors that catered to the theme, the tiki theme, but they don't need to be in there. And it's dark. It's maybe who knows if you're even doing a service to those vendors, they might not get as much traffic or as much exposure in there as they would out in the main floor. So, it's who knows? But I don't necessarily think that the Hall of Shadows needs its own vendor area. I would agree. I think it'd be kind of cool if it moved out. The Decade Brigade booth can stay in there, that's...
Well, yeah, they would need to stay in there because they're going to have their shows in there. I'm totally fine with that.
But, the majority of them could leave and be out in the main show floor.
Exactly. When it comes to offerings, signings of celebrities and things like that, I do appreciate that they have them. I am the type of person that would love to see more available that are horror oriented. So it's not just all of a sudden Midsummer Scream has Flash Gordon signing autographs. I don't want that. But I do want the ability to go up to a celebrity who is in one of my favorite horror movies so I could get one of their signatures on a poster.
Yeah.
So I think extending that out just a little bit, maybe having an entire area dedicated to signings, autographs, meet and greets, pictures, that kind of stuff would be quite nice because they did have an aisle dedicated to it this time around, but I would love to see more.
Yeah.
And I know that I've talked to Rick about this, and he's like, well, that's not our main bread and butter of what we do. That is not the focus of what Midsummer Scream is. And I don't think it needs to be the focus, but I still think that having a few more options would be nice.
Yeah.
Because I love adding to my collection of signed memorabilia.
My one regret this year is not adding to my Halloween Town signatures.
Cal was there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Gabe didn't inform me.
I didn't know I was in charge of that.
You should know. To just give me a heads up. Hey, Nikki, bring your Halloween Town poster.
Actually, I'm pretty sure I told you he was coming.
Maybe in passing or over G-chat. You have to tell me, hey,
babe, what do you want for dinner? Pasta sounds good. Do you know Cal's going to be at Midsummer Scream? Do you want cheese on your pasta?
Tell me to roll up my poster, stick it in a poster tube, and bring it with me. You didn't tell me.
I'm sorry.
I missed out.
I wouldn't be surprised if they show up again next year.
We'll bring it next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could just call him. Be like, hey, dude, you want to sign a poster?
Yeah.
I don't know his phone number. I'm just
either.
going to press buttons, hope it's him. Anyway, I think that would be nice, but like I said, that isn't the majority of what Midsummer Scream is, so I don't even know if that would even make it bigger or better or anything other than that.
No, who knows?
When it comes to the panels, expanding a little bit more on the horror genre, maybe presenting panels that are talking more about TV and film, really focusing on that and really honing in on panels that can expand more within that realm of horror.
Yeah.
Maybe even have panels where they delve into particular scenes and talking about the special effects of particular like practical effects within those movies. Maybe even having the amalgamated dynamics people come in to talk about the movie The Thing, the remake or the sequel, whatever it was, talking about all the different practical effects they did for that movie, because that falls within the horror genre as well.
Yeah,
and the different things.
All. I mean, that's all Midsummer Screams. That's what they do for 18 months. They find all those. So I'm sure
expanding the horizon.
Yeah.
So like, say they do add that third day, what are they going to have? They could expand on the movie aspect of the horror genre and what they're presenting in Midsummer Scream.
Yeah.
I think that would make it bigger. That is a place to go, and really delving into the side of things that maybe nobody even thinks about. I've wanted and said for every year, I would love a Goosebumps panel.
Yeah.
I would love to talk about Goosebumps. Goosebumps is something that a lot of people don't like. Oh, that's not horror. That's definitely not horror. It's 100% scary horror for kids. So something like that, I would love to have something like that. But I think Midsummer is going to continuously grow. I think it's going to keep getting better and better and better. And I'm going to follow it wherever it goes because it has everything that I want out of the convention. I don't go to Comic-Con. I don't go to WonderCon. I don't go to D23 anymore. I go to Midsummer.
Yep. That's really it. That's all we do now.
And in all honesty, like, the Disney community gets kind of crazy sometimes. Yeah. I mean, that's not saying the horror community doesn't get crazy. But in a convention where people are filled with monsters and you're covered in blood and you're only dressing in black, people dressing up in the craziest costumes.
They're the nicest.
People are the nicest human beings I've ever met in my entire life. And they are the most accepting.
We saw
people.
Almost like a fight, like bum rush break out at D23.
Oh my God.
And never happened in Midsummer Scream. It's like it's a much more
accepting,
peaceful environment. Like not peaceful, but just like more mellow environment.
Who would think that from a whole bunch of people carrying fake weapons and covered in blood and makeup and stuff? It's just like the public's imagery of what this is doesn't translate to calm, peaceful, nice, accepting. Yeah. If that makes sense. Yeah. And something that Rick said, because you mentioned them coming on stage and saying goodbye and how personal that is. Yeah. Something that he said really resonated with me and saying, the evil that is in our society isn't in here. It's outside those doors, reverencing outside the convention center. And the people who are here are the people who are accepting and loving. And that's where the love is between everybody here celebrating the same thing. Yeah. And I'm not saying that doesn't exist within other fandoms, because it does. But from my experience, this is one of the most accepting groups of people that I've ever met. Yeah. And I really like that he said that, because he got pretty emotional about all of it. He got really emotional talking about making Midsummer the best that he possibly can, doing the fans proud, making sure that we are all people who are coming together that love the same thing and appreciate each other for who they are and what they do. And you can tell that they care. And I think that means a lot to me, because the people who are creating an event that I care so much about care that much about it as well. Yeah. And it's not going to be a good event if they don't care. If it's focusing on like, oh, we're going to make a bunch of money off these people who love horror movies, the heart won't be in it. The heart won't be in it. And you could tell there's so much heart in Midsummer Scream. Yeah. From every single aspect, every single detail, from the minor details in the Hall of Shadows to the bigger details and planning of the big panels. There is heart and love for what they are doing, and I appreciate that on all levels. Yeah. So I'm excited that Midsummer Scream is coming back, which they announced when they said goodbye. They're coming back in 2020, August 2nd and 3rd, I believe, or August 1st and 2nd,
like
one of
that.
those two.
Yeah.
They're definitely
Earlier.
100% coming back. Oh, that's something I think they're going to go from here. Much bigger party.
Yeah.
Because this year they had the Grin and Gala, which had like a costume contest. They had, a commentary with Don Hahn on the Haunted Mansion movie and drinks and games. I think a much bigger party.
Yeah.
Much, much bigger party. So we'll see. Maybe it's a big... What if they throw a giant party in the Hall of Shadows?
I was
and
just
you go
about
through
to
the
say,
haunts all night.
Or maybe even just open up the Hall of Shadows.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But that means that the people would have to be working it all day and all night.
Yeah, maybe they could do shifts or something. I don't know.
Yeah. They're home haunts. They don't have second shifts.
Their second shifts are taking care of their babies.
That's awkward.
Hot babies.
Well, you kind of said it like, what's that sumo wrestler, Austin Powers character?
Fat bastard.
Fat bastard who just like, I eat babies.
Get in my belly.
Get in my belly.
My baby.
That's what it sounded like to me.
No, but yeah, I am very thankful to Rick, David, Claire, and Gary for putting on a wonderful event for so many people who enjoy the Halloween season. Thank you guys for putting on this. Thank you for having us out to experience it and sharing it with everybody.
Yes, and for giving us the opportunity to podcast there.
Yes, that was phenomenal. Thank you for that as well. We really, really appreciate it. That was a big thing for us. That was a very big deal for us, and I'm thankful we had the opportunity. I highly implore everybody to check out midsummerscream.org. Check out what you missed out. That sounds weird.
Yeah.
But look at what was being offered. Like, if this year you were like, I'm not quite sure. Look at what was there. Look at what the price is. It was good value.
Yeah.
So you could prepare for next year.
Buy your tickets early. They always go on sale.
And they're discounted.
Yeah.
So make sure you do that. Listen to the different reviews of Midsummer Scream. Listen to the different people who have gone in how to approach the con, so you can learn how to traverse the show floor, the Hall of Shadows, the presentations, the secondary experiences. So you can learn how to do all of that. So when you do go, you're not lost, because there is quite a bit to do here. Not as much as like a San Diego's Comic-Con, but for the haunt world, this is the biggest.
Still too much to do in 2 days.
Yeah.
So you really have to plan.
Yeah, 100% this is all about planning and what you really truly want to do. So make sure you check out midsummerscream.org and sign up for the newsletter as well.
Yes.
So that brings us to the end of the episode. This is one of our longest episodes yet.
Yeah.
We're at an hour and 40 minutes of just chatting about Midsummer Scream. And we truly hope that everyone enjoyed listening to us talk about the minutia of Midsummer Scream. What?
Every once in a while, you find a word that you really enjoy, and you use it a lot.
Minutia.
Your current word is minutia.
Oh, I love minutia.
You've used it in like the last several episodes.
Yeah. That happens.
I usually don't call you out on it when you pick a word, like your word of the month.
Word of the month is.
But I've heard minutia so many times that I just couldn't hold back the look on my face when you said it again.
It happens.
Minutia.
It totally happens.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. That's totally true. You're right on it.
I just usually don't call you out on it, but I couldn't help it.
So you're focusing on the minutia of what I'm talking about. Every listener out there is like, thank you. Thank you, Nikki, for finally saying it, because I've been yelling at the radio for the past 6 episodes about his minutia. So, but yeah. So, I really do appreciate the people listening, and hopefully us talking about this can help you learn and how to, approach Midsummer Scream and see the things that you want to see and experience what you want to experience.
Yeah, hopefully you're already excited about next year.
Mm-hmm.
We are.
Also, make sure to give them a follow, Midsummer Scream, on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and all social media platforms. They're constantly posting things, and then when it comes closer to the event, they're always announcing new panels, and they're always jazzed about putting it out there too. So you can always find that stuff there. If you're interested in following us, why would you be? But if you are interested in following this nonsense, you can find us on all of the social media platforms. That would be Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. All you have to search is Theme Park Duo. We sometimes put out like videos on YouTube. Most of the time it's our podcast.
Yeah, we're not the best at it.
Well, I mean, it's not even that we're the best. It's like I edit for a living, so why would I want to edit videos more?
True, yeah. But then also, like, when we're at events, we're, like, on social media, like, posting. We're not taking video the whole time.
It's difficult to multitask
do everything,
in that
especially
sense.
with a baby now.
Yeah, it's
a
very
lot harder.
difficult. Very difficult. She's, like, trying to grab our phones. She's, like, pooping her pants. It's crazy.
Only during Queen Mary panels.
Oh, she pooped her pants at the Queen Mary panel.
Yeah.
Yeah, she just really did.
Yeah, she did.
Well, I mean, honestly, nothing's changed. I mean, when Nikki and I used to go and we didn't have a kid, Nikki's trying to take pictures, she's pooping her pants.
Yeah.
Like, not much has changed. So, you're just like, shut up.
It's
kid.
been an hour and 45 minutes. I'm just going to agree with you till we're done.
That's kind of like the rest of our life.
Infer from that what you will. Just
Yes. Most of the time it's Nikki just like, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hurry up. So make sure you follow us on all those social media platforms. If you want to email us, if there's something you want to hear on the show, something you'd like to hear on the show, make sure you email us at
More cowbell.
More Cowbell.
themeparkduo@gmail.com.
And if you haven't already, make sure you head over to iTunes, leave us a 5-star review. It'd be phenomenal. Or just leave us a 5-star review. It is a free way of supporting the show, and it helps everybody find us and enjoy us like you are right now. Once again, thank you for tuning into this week's episode talking about Midsummer Scream 2019.
Woo!
And as always, there's always a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. See ya.
Thanks for riding with the theme park duo. Make sure to gather all your belongings before the end of the podcast. Bye-bye.